What's good, everybody? We're now tuning into the NBA betting show, the show you got to come to every Friday evening to talk some NBA basketball. Hope everybody out there is doing well. It's been another interesting week in NBA. We are inching closer to an all-star game. We just saw a major matchup between the Brooklyn Nets and the Los Angeles Lakers. More is going on. MVP races heating up. Other races are heating up. And you know where to come for the best news for betting action and best guides. I got my guys with me, as usual, going on. Joining me again this week. First up, my man, Gerard Hector, doing his thing. Mr. Dog Lover. Gerard, how you doing, man?
I'm good. She's in here right now, so I gotta keep my animation to a minimum before she starts wilding out.
People should know about your dog, Hazel. Hazel is, at least to me, Hazel is very nice, very kind. Yeah.
She's cool,
and she's chill. I like Hazel. Hazel's just chilling. So I like Hazel.
She likes to get down on some wine. I'm also admiring Brian's lovely new headshot that he has. Maybe he'll talk about that when you introduce him.
Yeah, well, all right, we'll talk about that. Next, let's just introduce Brian next, who's now foraying into angry modeling. Brian, how you doing, man?
Speaking of, before we get into that, thoughts and prayers to the photographer who did the shoot for Meg Thee Stallion. People are saying that she looks like Randy Orton on Twitter today. So, yeah, there's a lot going on there. The photographer, you know what I'm saying? I don't know who he is, but best of luck next time.
But what about your photographer though?
Ashford Alonso, you know what I'm saying? One of the best in the game that people don't know about. We did some headshots for my realistic fiction novel, the bio portion of it. That's going to be the photo that I use as a new profile picture. And there was a few we took, but I was happy with that one.
There you go.
There we go.
Yo, you front on that Malcolm X tip though, right? When you got the finger on the thing, really?
It was very spontaneous. She didn't tell me what to do. I just kind of did it, and she really liked. I mean, it's my girlfriend. She really liked it. You know what I mean?
She didn't art direct you. You didn't get no art direction.
No, but she made it in black and white. We had it in color. She thought it would look better in black and white. So, we was able to work that out.
I was just happy that you did not look as angry as you normally do. And
I have one where I smile. I have one where I smile. I have two where I smile.
I don't believe that exists.
I gotta post the extras later on.
Yeah, because we don't believe you need more people. Last but not least, my man Jamal Murphy, who is a little optimistic about the New York Mets' chances to possibly win a World Series. Him and Gerard were bringing some of that energy earlier, along with our producer Greg, and I'm kind of like, y'all need to calm down. Jamal, what's up, man?
Yeah, I'm always optimistic about the Mets, and until that first week or so is over, we shall see. Well, wait, Gerard, did you say your dog gets down with the wine?
Well, it's funny. So there was a picture of her. Not really. She doesn't. She doesn't drink wine.
I'm not sure I believe that now.
No, she doesn't. There's a picture of her on Instagram after all the Christmas Day games, and I was like, Hazel, you want to watch Clippers Nuggets? And she's like passed out, and Dexter goes, Hazel, were you having wine? Under the IG comments.
I just say that. Say that.
She looks spent.
Yo. By the way, can we talk about Dexter's IG? Looking mad brolic.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying? You can tell he was in the gym. He was in the gym. COVID didn't do shit to him. You know what I mean? He was just out here
mad brolic.
Well, I don't know about looking mad brolic. I got some headshots done with my man Justin in Collab Studios, which was really good. Look, man, I'm trying to stay healthy and stay in shape. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You got to stay ready, man. Can't be getting caught out here.
You inspired me. I had to go get the Peloton. Now I'm biking away crazy. You know what I'm saying? Trying to lose some pounds.
But hey, look, Murph, that's what it's all about. It's about the inspiration. You know what I'm saying? You can see Brian's picture. You could be inspired to not maybe be mad all the time. You see my picture, maybe it inspired you to work out. Maybe get some more headshots of your own. Whatever it takes, man. Whatever. You've inspired me to have some positive energy towards the Mets. I don't know. Maybe Gerard has inspired me to get a dog.
See? Man, it's a beautiful thing. Makes your life better.
It all works. All right, guys. Always good chopping up with y'all in the beginning. As usual, we are going to get into it. As I said, a lot of good things going on in NBA. Races are heating up. We've had a lot of conversations about the different future awards. We talked about this when we first started the show. We've gone into MVP. We've looked at Defensive Player of the Year. We talked about that last week. And now a very interesting category that I think is always difficult to vote on is Most Improved Player. And we're going to talk about that this week. Who is the most improved player? Who's the odds-on favorite right now? Right now, that person is Jeremy Grant. And I think a lot of people, Jeremy Grant leaving the Denver Nuggets to go to the Detroit Pistons, where it was reported that he was told he would have more of a role in the offense. And boy, he absolutely has. Scoring average has gone way up. But there's other people to consider here. I don't know if everybody feels that he is the odds-on favorite right now. Should he be the odds-on favorite right now? Should there be other guys you consider, whether it's Julius Randle, who's had an all-star season, has had a lot of improvement, Christian Wood, who went from Detroit to Houston. A lot of guys I think you can really consider in this field. So I'm going to ask the guys, do they like where things are right now with Jeremy Grant as the odds-on favorite, or is there somebody else they'd rather put their money on that's better value and they should be looking at? I'm going to start first with you, Murph, on this. Do you like Jeremy Grant as the odds-on favorite, or is there somebody else you'd rather put that money on that you think is a lot better value than Mr. Grant?
Hey, I get why Jeremy Grant is the favorite. His totals have gone, way up. He's a career 10.4 rebound, 1 assist guy. And this season, he's averaging 25, 5, and 3. So that's a huge, huge improvement. So I get that. But he's also on an 8-20 team. They're not going anywhere. No one talks about him. So I would look elsewhere. And also his odds aren't that great because he's, what is he, minus
182, anywhere from minus 143, which PointsBet has minus 200 with DraftKings.
Right. So why not go with someone who also, has shown great improvement, but has odds at plus 2,500, anywhere from plus 2,500 to plus 3,000, which is a person you just named, Julius Randle. His career averages are 17, 9, and 3. This season, he's 23, 11, and 6 on a team that looks like they're going to, at least make the play-in game, or whatever it is, the play-in series for the playoffs in the Knicks. And, it's the Knicks. They're in, they're in a larger market. The Knicks are always a story, and they should be a story this year because they're actually playing well. So I would go Julius Randle with those great odds because he's going to get more attention than Jeremy Grant will.
That's a good one there. I think you brought up something really good, Murph, in terms of winning. Gerard, does winning matter here in terms of when you evaluate Jeremy Grant and his odds? Will it matter for any of these players that are in the conversation for most improved?
I mean, it should, but generally speaking, it doesn't, right? What usually ends up happening is, teams, whoever jumps up in the scoring averages and the counting stats, that's who wins most improved player, right? We see it all the time. I know Brian rails on that when like a top 3 pick all of a sudden goes from, 10 points to 20 points. He's like, he's a 3 pick. What did you expect, right? So I get that, right? And so the odds on Jeremy Grant, so I wouldn't do it. Murph did mention Julius Randle. I love that, obviously, because again, bigger market. So the Knicks are going to be talked about. People are like, the Knicks play in, playoff. We love that. Someone else I'm looking at though too, Chris Boucher of the Toronto Raptors at plus 2,500. That is definitely worth a flyer because here's what's happening: the Raptors are starting to play good basketball again. They now in the 7 or 6 seed, and look. Say what you want. Kawhi's gone, blah, blah, all that. They still got championship pedigree, right? Them dudes all went to the finals, right? So they ain't scared of nothing, and they know what's up. And it's as high as plus 300, plus 3,000, on FanDuel. Look at his numbers: 61% effective field goal, 64.8 true shooting. He's averaging 14, 7, and 2. This is a guy who was a G League MVP and G League DPOY in 2019. If the Raptors continue to play well, Boucher is going to be a huge part of that. He's definitely worth a flyer.
That's definitely a good point because what you're talking about there is you're actually seeing development within the organization, which should matter somewhat to most improved player. All right, Brian, I guess the only question we have for you is which Miami Heat player are you going to put your money on for this?
All right. There's no Miami Heat player we're talking about in this category. There are a couple, man. All right. There are a couple players worth bringing up. Chris Boucher is one of them, absolutely, because my barometer for most improved player is typically who actually looks like a most improved player, not just the same version as last year and their stats look better. That's kind of where Colin Sexton is for me, and his odds are a little bit higher than I think they should be. As much as I do like Colin Sexton at this point, and he's had a very good third season, but at the same time, he's not somebody that excites me in terms of this award, and the Cavs aren't winning enough. That's my problem with Jeremy Grant. The stats are there, obviously, but it's also a lot of good stats, bad teams. Somebody has to be able to get these stats. He's somebody who's evidently could create his own shot, so he's able to do it on a team where the roster construction doesn't make a lot of sense. It's like somebody has to do it. It just so happens to be him. And unless they win some games, it's not a serious bet for me. Julius Randle is probably my front runner. Murph already talked about that. He looks like a different guy to me this year, and he's playing winning basketball on a team that's in the playoff race. Somebody that I would throw some money on also is DeJounte Murray of the San Antonio Spurs, who looks like a much better version of what he could have been pre-ACL, which was a while back. This year, he's really stepped it up. His odds are pretty enticing as well. And the Spurs are 16-11, 6th in the Western Conference. So he's obviously contributing to winning basketball on a team that also has DeMar DeRozan playing at a high level who may get traded. So those numbers might actually go up some more. So DeJounte Murray is somebody who could benefit from the trade deadline because DeMar DeRozan, LaMarcus Aldridge, they have guys that could be moved, and he looks to be their point guard of the future. So DeJounte Murray is my sort of sleeper pick here, I guess I would say.
That's a good one with Murray. Now, all of you guys seem to value winning in terms of this, but we heard Gerard talk about the fact that most of the way this thing usually goes is, hey, people look at that huge uptick in scoring average, and that's how people end up voting on this awards. If betting on this, do you then consider how people may vote if this is traditionally how we've seen the writers vote on this? Does that influence any way how you guys might put your money on any one of these players? Gerard, I'll start with you on this.
A little bit. If that's the case, then I would definitely go back to Randall, right? Because again, he's in a market on a team because market size matters too, right? The Knicks are going to be talked about a lot. And Lord help us if they make the playoffs. That's all the media market's going to be talking about, which is a big thing. I know it's going to make you happy, Dex. So that's huge, right? And a place like Toronto, unfortunately, while they have a championship pedigree, I don't really talk about them. So if you're talking about money, yeah, Boucher for sure. I'm sorry, not Boucher. Randall, excuse me.
Randall for sure. What about you too, Murph, on that? Are you in any way influenced by how we've seen things voted on traditionally? Although things can change. We do not have to follow tradition. As I know Brian will rock with me on that. Things can change. But does this influence any way you might put the money in terms of voting on this award?
Yeah, I think it has to. I think you have to look at, traditionally how the award is given out. I just feel like this, for some reason, I feel like this season there are more guys to choose from. Usually, there's one or two guys that stick out, and it doesn't really matter what team they're on because there's not much to choose from. I feel like this year you have more guys to choose from. A jump like Randall is not something you see every day. Yes, Jeremy Grant had his jump is a little bit higher from point total, rebound total from year to year, but Randall, his jump is pretty significant also, and he just happens to be in a better market and he happens to be on a better team. So I think if it's close, that's when you start to look at, the record of the team, the success of the team and all that. And here is a situation like that where it's close. So you can look in other areas for excuses why to give it to someone else.
That is going to be interesting how people break the tie. What about for you, B? If it's close in a certain area, are you going to say, hey, I'm going to maybe put more money on this guy in the way that people may traditionally vote for this? Or are you looking for a separation in terms of being like, hey, Julius Randle could pass this guy? Or like you mentioned before with DeJounte Murray, right?
Yeah.
What opportunities he can have if some players get traded that might actually affect his numbers. Those are things people should keep an eye on, right?
Yeah, and you brought up a point about just sort of the narrative of this, and these are all, at the end of the day, narrative-based awards to some degree. Like, we can sit here and talk about this person's won this amount of MVPs, this person's won this amount of Sixth Man of the Year awards, but, like, they'll all come down to narrative-based awards because the people voting for them are media members. And we have to also consider, like, how are they going to vote? Who's the guy that is getting a lot of attention? Who's sort of the trendy pick? And when it comes down to it, like, that'll sort itself out, toward the end of the season. And the favorite in that category for me would be Julius Randle if the Knicks do wind up a playoff team, because that would just be a great narrative for a team that people have been waiting to be good and interesting for a long time.
Agree. I think a lot of you guys bring up great points on this and why this is just a difficult year to look at betting. And even with awards and narratives, there's a lot to absolutely consider. I just want to remind everybody, you can please join in the conversation with us. Send in your comments, your questions here in the YouTube chat. We will answer as many of them as possible. Also want to remind everybody that when you're shopping for betting lines, you can use the propsnetwork.com live odds comparison tool. How you do that in terms of NBA games, you go to propsnetwork.com/NBA. You see all the different spreads and payouts from all the best legal sportsbook, all in one place. Not a bad tool to use at all. It's Friday night. We like to talk about the games that are going on each and every Friday night. And we got some good ones as usual. First game in our Friday night game that we're going to talk about. Two teams, both have been struggling a little bit of late. Both have dealt with some injuries and things throughout the season, but the Atlanta Hawks, they are going to be in Beantown battling the Boston Celtics. The Celtics are the favorites, -4 in this game. The over-under is 225.5. Of note, Jaylen Brown is a game-time decision in this contest, so that's something to keep an eye on as we get close to the start time of that. I'm going to start with our resident Trae Young fan, Jamal Murphy. Murph, the Hawks, like I said, they've been having a little bit of trouble, especially on the defensive end, which is not what we have, which is not shocking to something we have seen. Who do you like in this matchup right now? This is at 5. The line has moved up to 5.5. This is even for BetMGM. So there's been some action that probably a lot to do with the uncertainty with Jaylen Brown. Who do you like in this matchup? And is the over/under in any way tantalizing for you?
Yeah, so I mean, we all Boston's been a disappointment. They're 14-14, 5th in the East. I guess 5th in the East isn't too bad, all things considered. Atlanta 12-16, 10th in the East. They've been, I think, a bit of a disappointment. So two, blah teams at the moment. I like Boston in this. I loved them at -4. You're talking about they've gone up to -5.5. I'm getting a little nervous. I would be a little nervous as far as that goes. But Atlanta just beat them pretty good in Boston last game. So this is kind of this is one of those series deals. So it's as we always talk about, it's tough for a team to sweep any team in these kind of series, especially for the lesser team to sweep the better team. So I definitely expect Boston to come back strong. And I guess, I'll go with them to cover that 5.5. Atlanta's 3-7 in their last 10, 4-6 against the spread. Boston's only 4-6 in the last 10, 4-6 against the spread also. As for the over-under, same kind of reasoning. I like the under here because the teams are familiar with each other. I think this will be a more intense game. The second game is usually more intense. They're more familiar with what each other are doing on offense, so I think both teams play better defense. So I would go under the 225.5 is the number I see. So I like Boston, and I also like the under.
Boston and the under. All right, we'll go with the -5 for this, since that's a consensus line of where it's at for this matchup tonight right now, although we said BetMGM giving you as high as -5.5. Brian, you are our resident Kemba Walker fan who has not been playing good since returning from injury. Do you like Boston to bounce back here? And what do you think about the over/under?
I mean, I guess. I honestly don't like this game at all in terms of betting. Like, it's a complete universal stay away for me. I don't like the over/under. I don't like the spread. I don't like DFS. Except for maybe Trae Young. Like, there's just so much uncertainty here. Jaylen Brown being a game time decision is just like the icing on the cake for that, because that really swings things for me. He's been the best player for the Celtics all season. And as all-star level, he should be an all-star. But I just don't quite know what to expect from either of these teams on a night in, night out basis. And really, I can take that and use it for 25 or 30 teams in the NBA. Over-unders, very uncertain, but I guess I would just roll with the under here because of what Murph said about the defense. And as far as the spread, I would probably lean toward the Celtics, but I don't feel great about that either because it would have surprised me if the Atlanta Hawks were to win behind a big Trae Young performance. It just wouldn't.
Celtics are 4-6 in their last 10 games. Murph just talked about how the fact that they just lost previous game in this mini series to the Hawks. It would seem, Gerard, like the Celtics really need a win here. We know how much you value the great coaching of Brad Stevens. Does he get that done tonight?
Are we sure the Celtics are better than the Hawks? Are we sure
Yes.
about that?
I would say yes when they're healthy.
y'all know I got to stay on brand. Fuck the C's. Look, I honestly, this game, I'm with Brian. It's a stay away. I just don't like what I'm seeing from either of these teams. They just look, I don't even know what they're doing half the time. With Tatum and Brown, I don't care that Kemba's out and Marcus Smart. You got two elite wings who are young. These dudes are 21. How the hell are y'all not better than this with two elite wings like that? I don't get it. I don't know what's going on in Boston and Atlanta. Shit, y'all ain't make the bubble last year. You had all this time all offseason to get ready and get your asses in gear. With all that offensive talent, how are they this bad? I don't know. I don't like this game at all. I'm staying away from it. If I had to, if you're like, look, man, let's throw some money somewhere. Honestly, because I don't know what they're going to do. I go the other way. I go the over in this game.
Wow. I mean, well, anytime you have Atlanta with poor defense like they have shown, I don't necessarily think that's a bad bet. 67% of the bets and 84% of the money is on the Celtics here. Only 17% of the bets are on the under here, which tells you a lot of people think when it comes to Atlanta, you can score points on them pretty easily. So it's going to be very interesting at that one. All right, moving on. Let's get out of Boston like we usually like to do. Moving on to our second game of the night. This one should be interesting. The Phoenix Suns, my man CP3, they are the favorites in this. They're on the road down in the Big Easy to take on the New Orleans Pelicans. Suns are favored -3.5. The over under in this contest is 231. Woo, really trying to tantalize you here. This could be interesting. Pelicans, we've talked about them the last couple of weeks. They have been playing a little bit better, still inconsistent offensively. Phoenix has turned things around within the last 10 days or so. They've been playing much better. This should be a good matchup for Phoenix as they try to continue to surge forward. Pelicans 5-5 in their last 10 games. The Suns, they've been playing really well, as I said, 8-2 in their last 10. I'm gonna start with you, Brian.
Yeah.
You like what you're seeing from the Suns, CP3, Devin Booker? We know they had their heartbreaking loss to Brooklyn, which is probably Brooklyn's best win of the season a couple nights ago. But have you liked what you've seen out the Suns, and do you like them to bounce back here?
Yeah, I'm good with taking the Suns. I'm just not really good with going over on this 231, considering that the Suns are still top 5 in defense and they're almost dead last in pace. And that's just not going to be good for me to take the over there, especially against New Orleans, where kind of like what we were saying about the Celtics and Hawks earlier, you just don't quite know what you're going to get from New Orleans on a night-to-night basis. Zion Williamson is going to get his, but at the same time, I just don't know like all the way around. I would lean toward the Suns. I like what I'm seeing from Chris Paul, I like what I'm seeing from Devin Booker. Mikal Bridges has been sort of one of my favorite, under the radar players to watch all season long. But like I said before, they're almost last in pace. They're top 5 in defense, 4th in opposing points per game, least allowed. I don't even know if I said that shit right, but y'all know what I mean. And the Suns, I like them to cover here also in a victory because I'm just way more comfortable taking them than I am the Pelicans, generally speaking.
70% of the bets and 77% of the money on the Suns. This according to DraftKings. I think Brian makes some pretty good points about when you're looking about the pace and in terms of where you might want to bet in the over-under, and that's why I use the word tantalizing in that 231 range. Murph, your Pelicans, worst backcourt in the league. Do you trust them enough to put up enough points to get to that 231 and help it on their side of things, or is this a stay away for you?
It's not a stay away. I would go with the Suns. First of all, the last time they played on about 2 weeks ago, something like that, they blew out the Suns, and New Orleans is just not that good. Okay, they're still inconsistent. You can't count on them to come with that same type of performance. And the Suns remember what happened. So I think they're going to be very, like you said, they're coming off their worst loss, maybe Brooklyn's best win, but probably their worst loss of the season at home to Brooklyn in a game that they were up by 20 points plus in the second half even. So I think the Suns come out very focused and take care of business. I love them at -3.5. New Orleans, like I said, inconsistent. Zion, like you said, has been very good. Ingram has been a little up and down. I'm not sure what the chemistry is like there. I watch these things very closely, and sometimes I feel like Ingram doesn't always like to pass to Zion. I don't know. I just feel like I don't know if he really. I feel like he really feels like he's the best player on the team, or he should be the best player on the team. There are just certain plays there. I just don't feel like the chemistry is all the way there. So I definitely go Suns here. I mean, they're playing better. They're 8-2 in their last 10, 8-2 against the spread. Also, New Orleans is average 5-5, and also 5-5 against the spread. As for the over/under, give me the under. For everything that Brian said, Phoenix is a good defensive team. They're only giving up 108 points a game. Got to mention Steven Adams is a game time decision. I'm not sure whether that's a good or bad thing. Probably doesn't mean anything. But I got to go. I root for the Pelicans, but I got to go Phoenix here.
Gotta go Phoenix there. Yeah, definitely a tough. That loss against Brooklyn was crushed. Chris Paul's big man over this. He was giving everybody everything in the locker room. And
Right.
any time between this game, he's telling them they have to bounce back on this. Gerard, you're laughing, but are you going to give the Pelicans any love here? Because nobody's giving them any love here on this show. Are you giving the Pelicans some love tonight?
Yo, Chris was blowing up the team group chat, being like, I don't know what the fuck y'all dudes are doing. Like, and you know how Chris gets. Like, that dude starts wearing on you when he gets mad at you ain't doing your shit. But rightfully so, right? You had the Nets down 21 on the second night of a back-to-back for them. Should have closed that game out. Didn't do it. Anyway, like everybody else, I mean, how the hell are you going to pick the Pelicans in this game? They are 29th in adjusted defensive rating. That's points per possessions allowed when you take into account the strength of their opposing offenses. In case you didn't know, 30 teams in the league. 29th is awful. They offensively, look, I'm with Murph. Of course Brandon Ingram thinks he's the man. He got a $158 million contract, And when you're at this stage of your career, when you're young like him, it's about alpha dog status and all that shit. So this is just a bad matchup for them. I'm liking Phoenix here, -3.5. They got to get that nasty taste out of their mouth from the Brooklyn game and revenge from that beatdown they took. And I like the Phoenix over.
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised the line is maybe as low as it is in this game. I could see them going up to maybe 5 or 6. I'm surprised. And I'm very confident in that too with you guys. I'd absolutely take the Suns -3.5. I'm with Brian's point. I do not like the over-under. I'd go under with this. Phoenix's pace, the way they play, and the way they play defense, I don't see this getting close to 231 at all whatsoever. All right, our last game of the night, which, hey, look, this should be a good one, but it really all depends on how you feel about the Jazz or how you might feel about the Clippers. You know how we kind of feel about the Clippers on the show, but that's a whole nother story. The Utah Jazz, team with the best record in the league, at -4.5. They are the favorites on the road in LA to play the Clippers. Over under for this is 225. I think a lot of this, guys, as we said, we know with the Clippers, we don't trust them to not mess things up, we should say, or if they're going to fail. And with the Jazz, I think it's very up and down in how people feel about them. When you talk to people who cover the league and throughout the league, how they feel about this team, whether they're for real or not. But regardless of how you feel about that, they've been playing really good basketball. And so there's no denying of that. Gerard, I'll start back with you right now. The line is at -5 for this contest. Are you a believer in the Jazz? And do you like them to keep things rolling against the Clippers tonight?
I got to give it to Quinn Snyder, man. Like, look, he changed his whole team's offense last year when we had the COVID break before they went back in the bubble. He changed the entire system. They're shooting threes now. He's capitalizing on the strengths of his players, right? Using Rudy Gobert as that function for the defense of the house. He's rolling to the rim on pick and roll. So many coaches in the NBA are married to their systems and don't want to break from that. Quinn's like, well, these guys can do these things really well. Let's try to amplify that. If more coaches do that, you'd be in a better position. Look, Utah is hot right now. Number 1 in adjusted net rating, number 1 in defensive rating, number 6, in adjusted offensive rating. I mean, they do everything well. And in this game particularly, I'm not sure if Kawhi's playing. I'm not sure if Paul George is playing. I don't think Nick Batum is playing. Like, look, and even if I don't know what's happening right now. They might just be in like we trying to get our way to the All-Star break and take a week off, although, Kawhi's got to go because he got selected. I like Utah on this. Utah is just playing excellent basketball right now. And even though it's early in the season, right, we're only about 30 games in, they are beating all the teams they should beat and beating good teams as well. I'm loving Utah right now.
Utah up on the Clippers, 3.5 game lead in the West right now. Clippers third. Jazz 9-1 in their last 10. They've been playing really good basketball. Brian, what about you? Are you on the Jazz train right now? You looking to make any trips out to Salt Lake City? Seems like a place you'd love to go.
Not that. No. I mean, look, I'm rolling with the Jazz, but I'll be good if I never have to go to Utah in my life. I'm Puerto Rican. I don't know what the fuck I'm going to do out there. You know what I mean? Like,
Park City's cool, man. Go to Sundance Festival in January. It's a good time.
Go skiing.
Yeah, man.
Skiing, which seems like an activity you would absolutely do, Brian.
I don't ski. I don't even like ice skate. I played floor hockey. Pretty good defender. That's another story for another day. Pretty good floor hockey defender. But anyway, like I would say, like in reference to the Jazz and Clippers, they just played a couple nights ago. I wouldn't be surprised if this game just looks a lot like that. It was a blowout.
Yep.
The Clippers again, like they might be shorthanded because to Gerard's point, Kawhi, Paul George still questionable. Mike Conley's still out for the Jazz, and it hasn't quite mattered because they're still playing so well. I would like them to cover. As far as over under, I'm not really sure. I would probably lean under, but that will be more because of the Clippers, not the Jazz, because I'm confident that the Jazz will get theirs. Like how they're using Rudy Gobert. Donovan Mitchell's obviously went up another level. Jordan Clarkson, even when he's like inefficient, still is able to put points on the board, but he's been more efficient this year than he ever has been, more often than he's not. So I like the Jazz here, and unless Paul George and Kawhi Leonard are healthy, then I wouldn't really think too hard about it. As far as liking them for the rest of the season goes, I mean, we'll see. I think part of it is like they're great and they've obviously figured something out, but we've been fooled by this regular season surge before by other teams. So I'm in wait and see mode with the Jazz as far as whether or not I think they're going to be a serious contender. So we'll see 20, 30 games from now because we've been fooled by these kind of things before. And on top of that, it just so happens that they've been healthy, whereas most other teams haven't. So I think that's a factor here too.
Health is actually a fact, especially with the players you mentioned and Gerard mentioned as well. 81% of the bets and 90% of the money is on the Jazz -5. 24% of the bets, but 49% of the money is on the under in the situation. So a lot of people also not trusting necessarily the Clippers probably to do their part in terms of offensive to get to that.
The Jazz can guard, man. They can guard.
Yeah, they can guard. You gotta give them credit for that. Come on, Murph. Come on, man. See Nadi ahead. Give some hope to Clipper Nation out there in terms of betting for the Clippers in this game.
Can't do it. Can't do it.
Can't do it. Won't do it.
Yeah, won't do it. And I don't see how you could do it. I mean, like was mentioned previously, Kawhi, Paul George, Batum, Kennard. We don't even know if these guys are going to play. So how could you pick
Kawhi and Paul confirmed they both are still out for tonight.
Oh yeah. So please, you might as well jump on that -5 right now because it's about to go to -8 or 9 pretty soon. I mean, Utah has been great. As everybody said, best record in the league, first in the West, obviously. Clippers not bad, 21-9, third in the West, but they don't have their major players. As far as Utah being a serious threat when the playoffs come, I think they will be if they have this team going into the playoffs. Last year they made a big splash with their free agent signings of Bogdanovich and Conley, and they basically didn't have either one when the playoff came because Conley just had a poor season. He just wasn't himself last season, and Bogdanovich didn't play in the playoffs. He didn't play in the bubble. So if they have this squad when they get into the playoffs, I'm pretty confident that they can at least be a true contender and compete. Not to say that they'll actually beat the Lakers or even the Clippers, but I think they have a shot at either one of them. So this is a real team here in Utah. As for the over/under, I like the sharp money, as was mentioned, is on the under. I agree with that. Both these teams are can play very good defense when they want to. So I would definitely go with the over and definitely hop on that Utah bandwagon, at least for this game, -5.
Yeah. Get it on the action.
Hold on.
What?
One of our esteemed producers wrote in the chat that Luke Kennard is day-to-day question. Luke fucking Kennard, man. You know what I mean? Like, honestly, we want to talk about one day we're gonna talk about like the worst contracts in the NBA. Luke Kennard is up there. Like, this motherfucker got traded to the Clippers, got a 4-year, $64 million extension, and is averaging 8 points a game now. Is shooting a high percentage.
Good work if you can get it.
You know what's funny, Brian? The other day I was watching the Clippers
His
game.
points per game has been cut in half from last year, and nobody is criticizing him.
He was good at Duke.
Yeah, we're gonna take it back to college. The other day I'm watching the Clippers game, and I'm literally listening to the announcers try to make the case. This is when you know somebody's sorry. They're just like, well, he's coming along, and he'll, we think he'll turn around. To Brian's point, he sucked. He has not been what the Clippers thought he's needed to be this year. He has been as good. You know what my bigger problem is? I'm with you guys. I put my money on the Jazz on this all the way. My bigger problem is how come nobody is still mad enough that the Utah still has their team name is the Jazz. Ain't nothing about Jazz going down with Utah. Like, ain't no Jazz in Utah. I understand they moved from New Orleans. Could we do a switcheroo?
Hashtag one note.
Ain't no man. Ain't no.
They might have some smooth Jazz out there.
No.
The Kenny G All-Stars out there. That's what
they don't even got that. Kenny G got too much soul for them people out there. They don't even got that. I will say really quick about the Jazz. When we're getting towards future bets and you're looking at Western Conference Finals and all that, do not. I mean, if you have to beat the Jazz and one of the LA teams, you're not making the NBA Finals. That's too much to run through on your way to get. You want to avoid one of them before you get to the conference finals, because having to go through Utah and one of the LA teams, that is a lot to ask.
Unless Denver gets Bradley Beal,
which
that might still be not to ask. We don't know if that's going to happen.
And there's a note: Utah, they have 3% alcohol beer. I mean, just drink water. You know what I'm saying? In that case, I was cool with Utah until I heard that. No, I can't go.
Nah, man. And let's get I'm seriously. Why is it not a petition to get the Jazz back to New Orleans and Utah come up with some other name? I don't care what you call it. 3%, whatever you want to call them, Utah, whatever. There shouldn't be Jazz in Utah. That's all I'm saying. Just makes me mad.
No Jazz in Utah. None.
Utah Mormons. I can
Utah Mormons.
BYU will get behind it. I can rock with that for sure.
You can run.
Speaking of a team that Luke Kennard would make sense
shooting guard.
Luke Kennard would make sense.
Murph, what did you say about the shooting?
Said Mitt Romney could play shooting guard.
That'll work. All right, want to encourage you guys who are watching us here on the Props Networks. Best way you can support us: subscribe on YouTube to the Props Network YouTube channel. You get more NBA betting content from us on NBA Picks and Props every Friday night at 6 p.m. You can also check out our other great shows, including my man, Jamal K. Davis, with a show Just for Sport, talks about everything in the wild world of sports and sports betting. Also, Joe Walkowski talking about everything in sports, NBA picks, football picks, hockey picks, baseball picks. He's got you all covered. Some of the great content we have here on the Props Network. All right, guys, it's that time of night. Talk about parlays. To parlay or not to parlay? Some of the interesting stuff this week. Wasn't a lot of stuff that tickled my fancy personally, but there's some interesting stuff. And as always, these parlays or not to parlays are great discussion points. We talk a lot about player and team parlays here, and there's great discussion points to talk around things throughout the season. So the first one that we have for tonight, Nikola Jokic and Joel Embiid to score 30 plus points. Interesting with this, the odds for this are plus 275. So it's interesting there. The Nuggets, they are taking on the Cavaliers, who have been struggling, and they'll have no Andre Drummond as that whole situation continues to go on. And the Sixers tonight, who do the Sixers have again?
Chicago.
They're playing the Bulls. They're playing Chicago at home. I'll be talking to me about that before we got on here. They're playing the Bulls and hosting them. So Joel Embiid, who's been averaging a shade under 30 points per game, 29.7, while Jokic has been averaging 27.4. And we all know that Jokic does so much more besides just the scoring. Do you like both of these big men to get over 30 points? Brian, start with you.
So Nikola Jokic is the one who scares me here. I feel great about Joel Embiid getting 30-plus points, okay? Because he does that just about night in and night out. He's consistent. Jokic's scoring going back about 12 games or so is a little more volatile. It's 21, it's 20, it's 35, 47, 13, 50, 35, 12, 22, 23, 43, 33. Like, it's all over the place. Now, he's playing Cleveland, whom last time he only had 12, but they won by 40 points. Jared Allen, as good of a defender as he is in terms of reputation, is somebody who we all covered with the Nets. Not really a lockdown defender. Like, we've seen centers light him up in his career, and now that he's with the Cleveland Cavs and there's no Andre Drummond and it's just going to be him and, Jetty Osman out there, then yeah, like Nikola Jokic has a pathway to 30 points. The odds aren't really that tantalizing enough for me to want to leap on this, I guess. But I would do it. I would do it a little conservatively because I have so much confidence in Jokic Ben Simmons is a game time call, and if he played, that shit wouldn't even matter. So Nikola Jokic is the one I'm worried about here, but I think that they'll both get it done.
Gerard, with Simmons not playing and Brian saying that it doesn't matter because he's been, he's offensively challenged. It'll be nice way of putting it. Does it give you more confidence in Embiid getting this done? And is there concern for you about Jokic getting it done for this parlay?
The Jokic point that Brian brings up is a good one because of the way he plays, right? Jokic is often the fulcrum and center point of that offense, operating in the elbow in the high post area, and he'll pass a lot. I mean, he's a willing passer. He is their best creator and playmaker, right, out of that position. So you wonder, is he going to come out and go shoot heavy, or is he going to kind of read the game? So a lot of it's going to depend on how the game is presenting itself to him. Look, Cleveland, they're sitting Andre Drummond. Jared Allen is a good defender, right? He's had his successes against the big name centers, right? Against guys like Embiid and Gobert and Jokic, right? But Jokic is such a crafty player. So I do think at plus 275, you're getting good value here. So I definitely throw some money on this.
What about you, Murph? Are you as confident in putting some money down that both these guys will get over 30 points?
Yeah, I like this one. I mean, look who they're playing. Jokic playing at Cleveland, Embiid, Chicago. Both of them obviously capable of scoring over 30 points. Embiid has 30 points in his last 3 games. Jokic 30 points in his last 2 games. So I would bet on them to keep those streaks going.
All right, like that to keep going. All right, just want to remind everybody, if you got comments, you got any questions, please keep it coming. We are missing tonight our man Eric Cheng. Where are you? Where's the action? It's been a little quiet tonight. It's a quiet Friday night. Maybe everybody is sipping wine, being as quiet as Gerard's dog is there. I'm starting to think that I see you checking her. Is she okay?
Yeah,
she good?
She's
she
fine.
good?
She's fine.
A couple sips of a little Cabernet going on there.
I'm gonna have some Cabernet tonight, actually.
See, I knew. We're just joking. Gerard is not giving his
no,
dog
please.
wine.
I don't need no animal people coming after me.
No,
we don't do that.
And they will come after you.
Exactly.
All right. Next parlay, guys. Pistons, a team like we said nobody talks about, although we're about to talk about them, and the Pelicans, a team we've talked about a lot, both to win tonight. I think we all know how we feel about the Pelicans winning tonight. This is plus 500. This is what makes this so interesting. Would you jump in on this action because it's the Pistons and it's the Pelicans? We know the Pelicans going up against the Suns. That's not good at all. Do you have any confidence in the Pistons against the Grizzlies? Anyone,
Nope.
Take it. Somebody, jump in. Say
Look. If I'm not that confident about the Pelicans, I am probably never. I don't know under what scenario will I take the Pistons. I probably said this shit last week verbatim. I don't know what scenario will cause me to take the Pistons against somebody unless they're playing like the Timberwolves without Karl Anthony Towns. That's probably it. So no, that's it. Just no.
That was pretty short and sweet, which makes Brian, you're not Brian, we'll go to Murph on this. You're not all buying in or all in on the most improved player, front runner, producing here, leading those Detroit Pistons to a win.
No. I think we know he's going to get his points. He's going to further help his most improved status, and Detroit is probably going to lose. I mean, they're 8-20. Okay, so if you're betting on something and you need an 8-20 Detroit team to win for you, it's probably a bad idea. So I would stay away from it completely. It would need to be plus like 5,000 for me to even think about it.
Yeah, I was gonna say about. I'm glad you brought that with the odds, and that's what I was gonna throw with Gerard, because are the odds not high enough here to tantalize anyone on this bet? We've had trepidation about the Pelicans. And as Brian is a hard no with the Pistons, and I think most people are, don't you think the odds should be a little higher on this if we want to see some action on this parlay at
man.
all?
It should be a plus 1,000, man. Come on. The Pistons, GM Troy Weaver basically is like, yo, we rebuilding here. Jeremy Grant, do you, playboy, score all the points you want. So if I'm looking at this game and I want to make some money, check out Jeremy Grant prop bets. See where we're at with that. Because he's going to get all the scoring and passing opportunities in this game. It's just, but ain't nobody picking the Pistons or the Pelicans to win tonight. Get out of here.
All right, man. Try to get a pick for these teams with 2 P's, but that did not go down. On to our next to parlay or not to parlay. This is also involving teams, and we'll see how much we love these teams. This is a little bit more. This is not as depressing. We'll say that. The last one was really depressing. Nuggets, Celtics, and Warriors all to win. Odds on this at plus 225. Now the Warriors, they are in Orlando to play the Magic. Celtics, we talked about them hosting the Hawks, and the Nuggets we also know are in Cleveland to take on the Cavs. This has to be a little bit more tantalizing. I'm not sure where the worry is for you guys. Is there any worry for you at all, Murph, with any of these teams pulling out a win tonight?
Not too much. I'm a little worried about the Warriors on the East Coast. Orlando just had they just beat the Knicks. They weren't supposed to do that a couple days ago. So I'm a little worried about Golden State. Boston, we talked about that, versus Atlanta. Atlanta's capable of beating them, but I do like this. If I had to pick all three of these games, I'd pick the Nuggets, Celtics, and Warriors to win. Plus 225 isn't bad. So go ahead and put your money on that.
All right, not a bad one. Finally, we got somebody wanting to get some action on one of these parlays. Gerard, what do you say on this? Is this one, or is there a team that concerns you in that? I think Murph makes an interesting point about the Warriors coming to the East Coast, first game on the trip. Any concern for you with that?
I mean, yeah, Draymond Green. Do we know, is he playing tonight? Last time I heard he was questionable. I mean, look, Vooch has been killing it for Orlando. And the Warriors, even when Draymond plays, they're already down all their big men. So Vooch is going to feast out there. The Warriors have been playing better, but again, that west to east trip, and it's always, a team like Orlando can always find a way to screw around and mess you up. Now, that Celtics, we talked about this earlier. I don't love that Hawks game, man. Like, for whatever reason, I just don't like these two teams. So even at plus 225, you're like, all right, good value 2-1. Man, on a 3-team parlay, you always think it's one team that's going to screw you. Man, 2 teams might screw you here.
We just learned that Draymond is expected to play Friday against the Magic. But look, this is where it gets tricky. Got to still go through warm-ups before an official decision is made. So that should be coming up pretty shortly. Good points, Gerard, on we talked about earlier, not necessarily trusting the Celtics in a situation why they could give you cause for concern. Brian, who gives you cause for concern, or are you pretty comfortable taking this parlay?
Yeah, it would be the Warriors. I'm not even overlooking the Cavaliers, given how porous the Nuggets have been sometimes defensively, and Colin Sexton can easily feast on that, and Darius Garland's still having a good season in the middle of a good season. He's averaging about 17-5 over his last 6 games or something along those lines. I would still take this parlay, though. I would still put a little bit on it because I do feel confident that all 3 teams could pull this out. But yeah, there is some trepidation. If there wasn't any, then there would be a bet, right, to begin with. So I would still roll with this and instill my confidence in all these 3 teams, though. You ain't getting much more than like $5 or $10 out of me for it. I'm letting you know right now.
Yeah, this would be a low money play for me. I like Gerard would be concerned about that Celtics game. That's the one that makes me the most nervous. But I think it's decent to throw a couple of dollars on this 2-1 odds. It's not that bad, but I'm not throwing.
Won't kill you. Won't break the bank.
Nah, because you can see somebody fucking this up. One of these teams can fuck this up. You can absolutely see that. All right. Zion Williamson, it was going to be the target of our last to parlay or not parlays. One I found that I added pretty late. Zion Williamson over 21.5 points. I'm going to start with Murph on this as the resident Zion Williamson fan. We talked about the Pelicans Suns matchup. I think all of us did. We all like the Suns. But I believe it was Gerard who also said Zion will get his, or it might have been you, Murph, that said it too. Averaging 25 points a game, 6.8 boards, 3.1 assists per game. So he's been generally getting over that 21. You need 22 to win here. Him to score 22 points and the odds on this are minus 110. Is this something you're going to get in on this action, or is this kind of like, we know he's going to do it? When you look at the odds, you know what's going to happen here. Is this even worth putting any money on?
Yeah, no, I think it is. Where is that? Because I want to put some money on it right now.
This was on.
What site do I need to go to?
Let me tell you where I got that from. Keep talking. I'll find that one for you.
Yeah, no. I mean, I think you have to do it. I think he's been over 22 points in 6 of his last 8 games. He's been over 20. He's had 29 or more in the last 5 games. The only chance he's under 21 is if Ingram totally shuts him out tonight. You never know. It's possible. He might just be like, forget this dude. He's costing me money. I can't mess with this dude. He's taking all my fame, taking my chicks, taking everything. So
Yeah,
that's
man, Ingram real bad.
the only way he won't do it is if Ingram, cock blocks him. So definitely go find it, because minus 110 is what you would is the odds you would get on a regular spread.
Right.
So minus 110 isn't bad at all. Go ahead and take that. You can almost guarantee he's going to get over 21.5 today.
Definitely the odds for that, because you asked Murph, is from FanDuel. FanDuel had the odds on that player prop. I got the other three previous ones just so all of our people know. Those were via BetMGM. FanDuel had the last one. Brian, what about you? You got you liking Zion Williamson? Is this easy money right here? Throw your money on this. This is one you should do.
Mostly, yeah. The only cause for concern I would have is it's against the Suns, who are better defensively than the teams that he's been going crazy against, being, Portland, Memphis, Detroit, Dallas, Chicago. But still, it's Zion Williamson, 21.5 is, low for him because he's averaging more than that. So, yeah, I would feel comfortable taking this bet, seeing him get to 22. The odds, as Murph said, are not bad, even though they don't look necessarily tantalizing and you won't get rich on it. But it's a safe bet. It's a good bet. And even against the Phoenix Suns, I could see him having a nice scoring performance. It's not like, DeAndre Ayton's not Mark Eaton or Hakeem Olajuwon. So I think Zion Williams is going to be fine.
Mark Eaton.
I love it.
Mark Eaton reference.
Mark Eaton
Love
reference.
it. Back to Mark Eaton.
We were talking about Utah earlier.
I love it.
See,
Love it.
that tells me you love Utah. I'll get you a Jazz. We're going to go do that. Gerard, any concern about Zion reaching that number of 22 points or more against this Suns defense, which is in the top 5? Any concern at all if you're going to take this parlay?
The Suns defense 5th, as I said, in adjusted defensive rating. Frank Kaminsky, however, giving up over 1.1 points per possession on defense, and he is not a quick lateral mover. DeAndre Ayton, though he is more athletic than Frank Kaminsky, also giving up a point per possession on defense, and he has some weird stiff movements. Look, Zion's going to beast on that front court. Front court scorers just go nuts on those guys. Now, the only thing you would fear is what Murph said. Man, Ingram out here, why you trying to cockblock me and take my girls and all my shine, man? And again, Zion's not a guy who you give the ball to and he initiates, right? Someone's got to pass him the ball. Ingram may not give that rock up, right? So that's the only thing that'll make me nervous, but I still like it. I'm going with 21.5 over here.
That's why I thought that parlay was so interesting, was because of the fact that he doesn't create his own offense. Go ahead, Murph.
And he did have 28 in the last meeting with Phoenix. So I would actually not be surprised to see him go for 30 plus.
Okay. Seems like that might be
that's a bet.
That's a bet. Yeah. That would have been a better parlay that would probably get a lot of action on that if you go for 30 plus, especially in this matchup. That would have been a good one. So that's good. All right, guys. It's that time. Keep it 100. The time of the night where we get to hear the most ridiculous bets in the world from my man Brian Fonseca. Who's going to be in a scuffle? What kind of ridiculous matchups is he going to bet on that he's never going to think on? I'm telling you, today I'm putting $1 on the Utah Jazz changing their name. That's all I'm going to pay for now. I'm going to start with Brian since he's the man with the most ridiculous bets in the world. Brian, how are you spending your $100 for keeping 100 tonight? Brian, we cannot hear you because your headset probably came out. And now and so people don't realize that. Hey, you start looking this way. What you said?
How about now?
We can hear you now. We can hear you. And
fuck you. I clapped my hands into the mic.
Yeah, you clapped your hands.
You got
too animated. You're too animated, man.
I just clapped. I'm excited to get these picks off. But I'm actually going to return to our most improved player conversation at this point, because I like where some of the odds are right now for Julius Randle and DeJounte Murray. So 25 each. We're going to get half of it out the way right there. I'm going to revisit some of the picks we were talking about. I'm going to definitely put 10 on the under for the Suns and Pelicans. I just don't see that getting to 231. You're basically asking for at least a 116, 115 game or something along those lines, or even more than that. So I'm not really seeing that. So that leaves me with about $40. I'm going to put 20 on Nikola Jokic and Joel Embiid getting the 30 plus that we talked about. I'm going to put 10 on Zion Williamson with 21.5. I'm going to put 9 on the Nuggets, Celtics, Warriors, all winning. So that leaves me with $1. The $1 will be on the Heat upsetting the Lakers tomorrow.
Only $1?
Come on. Only $1.
Why aren't you not confident in your team, bro?
They're
Why
not
do
my
people-
team.
Okay.
You know what?
Now he's
All right,
lying
all
to the
right.
people.
I'm gonna reverse it because here's what I'm gonna do.
You
Zion
gonna miss yelling
Williamson.
on him? Oh, nice.
Zion Williamson gets the $1 bet because it's only minus 110, and we'll switch and we'll put 10 on the Heat beating
There
the
we go.
Lakers
There you
tomorrow
go. There you
evening
go.
in
Go
Los
up, baby.
Angeles.
There
So
you go.
look, the Heat are only 2-3 on this road trip. They have Oklahoma City after this, so they could use a victory against the Lakers to make it a positive road trip.
There you go. Okay, good stuff. Gerard, how you spending that 100 tonight?
You know, I always go even numbers, make my life simple, or
Thank you
round
for
numbers, I should say. 25 on Zion, going over to that 21.5. I just think, again, as I mentioned about that porous ass front court, 25 on the Nuggets, minus 8.5. I just think, Cleveland, I don't know what they're doing. Nuggets got to come out and do their thing. And I like that parlay, $50 on Nikola Jokic and Joel Embiid score 30+ points.
Not bad there. Murph, what about you? How you getting this done tonight?
All right. I'm going to put 50 on Zion over 21.5. I would go to 400, but I want to pick some other games.
Mhm.
So 50 there. Give me 25 on the 76ers minus 8 versus the Bulls.
I
With
like
or
that.
without Simmons. Simmons is a game time decision, but I think they can handle that even without him, and as long as Embiid is playing. And then give me 25 on the Pistons, the Nuggets, Celtics, and Warriors all winning. I'm not super confident, but I like the odds there at plus 225. And, I don't have any money left, but I would have loved to have bet on the Australian Open final tonight between Naomi Osaka and Jennifer Brady, but I don't like the odds.
What are the odds?
Osaka is minus 500 on the money line. Which means you'd have to bet 500 to win 100.
Yeah, she gonna win in straight sets tonight. It's gonna be easy pickings tonight.
You think? But
I think so too.
minus 5, and also minus 5 on games. So you can bet on the number of games she would win by.
Okay.
So minus 5 would be she'd have to win 6. It would be a push if it was 6-3, 6-4,
Yeah,
and she would win if it was 6-3, 6-3. I'm still not confident in that. I think I don't think this is going to be. I think she'll win, but I don't think it's going to be easy for her. I like the way Brady's playing, so that's my take on that.
Brady is playing well.
Oh, we got a little tennis talking here. Okay.
We do it all, baby. We do it all.
I like that. All right, here's how I'm rocking tonight. Obviously, I keep it with round numbers like Gerard because we don't like to make life complicated. Brian, thank you. I'm going to go with the Raptors. Who are playing the Timberwolves, and I mean everybody should be getting bet against any team.
That's a win.
That's a win. I'm going to put 50 on the Raptors minus 3.5 on the road in Minnesota. Timberwolves without D'Angelo Russell. Carlton Towns came back. Rubio starting the point guard. They're a mess. I will take that. I'll put 25 on the Jazz to keep this thing going. We talked about that earlier over the Clippers with both guys out. I think that's a good bet of the minus 5. Right there. And then last, I would I'd throw my last 25 for the sake of it in the Zion Williamson player parlay to get over 21.5 points. I think that's decent there. And I think, come out with a decent night, get some, earn some decent money. Not a bad way to spend your $100. So that's picks, and that's our picks. Keep it 100.
I will say that there is one team that's rooting for the Sixers to beat the Bulls tonight. And that is the Brooklyn Nets coaching staff, because if the Sixers win, that means Doc Rivers and crew, they got to coach the Kevin Durant All-Stars. So I know Mike D'Antoni wants a week off. So he's like, yo, make sure that he probably called up Billy Donovan, was like, yo, man, or Doc and was like, yo, I need you to really, take care of this one tonight because we ain't trying to go to Atlanta.
Yeah. Some people are trying to go to. We'll talk about more of that later. And if we talk some tennis. You guys should check out on the Props Network. You should check out my man Jamal K. Davis. He talked a lot about the Osaka Brady matchup and how you could bet that and look at that. I'll be tuning in tonight. A little bit disappointed that won't see Serena going for 24, but it was always good to see those two at it. All right, we have a little bit more time. Y'all been really quiet in the chat today. We don't like it, man. We don't like it. You got to be more active in the chat. We haven't heard from a lot of people today.
Still doing drinking over there?
Yeah, I think so. I think everybody's just sipping on the wine today. That's it. They've been quiet.
It's all the snow, man.
Man, people are tired of the snow. They're over it. I was glad I didn't have to cover it this week. That was nice.
Yeah,
got to get out of that.
I'm surprised they didn't send you to Texas.
Yo,
I
They would have tried, but I was like, no. Yo, you know what's crazy? What's crazy though? One of my coworkers, man, he was coming to storm, and then he lives in Texas. He's in Dallas, and came home, pipes in his crib, busted, all flooded.
Wow.
Yeah, I felt bad.
Wow.
So he's like trying to clean up from that. It's real for people down there.
Should have went to Cancun.
1, 2, 3, Cancun.
I got $20 that Drew McIntyre loses the WWE Championship this weekend at Elimination Chamber. I just want to throw that out there.
All right, I like that. I like that.
Wait, I didn't realize you could bet on things that weren't a sport. Okay, but all right then.
Oh my! You should have seen the Royal Rumble odds. Ronda Rousey could have put. You know what I'm saying?
I know.
Bianca Belair was the second black wrestler to ever win a Royal Rumble. You should be happy that this undertaking is going. We might have the first. We might have the first. No. I'm saying because look, we might have the first women's championship contested by 2 black women at a WrestleMania in a month and a half.
We have come a long way from the Junkyard Dog and Coco Beware.
Yes,
all right. So
now it's Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks.
Progress for the people. Progress for the people.
You know, progress is a slow thing, as we know. It's a slow moving train.
It's a slow moving train. Before we wrap, guys, I want to ask you: is there anything in this week or any notes around the NBA or things that have stood out to you? You know, maybe it caught your eye. Maybe it was the Brooklyn Nets surprising comeback win against the Suns. Is there anything that you really took out of this week of basketball that you think is something to keep an eye on going forward?
I mean,
where is Kevin Love?
Good question. Good question.
Whatever
happened to him?
Yeah,
chilling.
Jaren Jackson Jr. Like there are players that I've just thought about. Like I'm like, where are these people?
So,
you know what I mean?
My sources are telling me that Trip J is on his way back. We'll be back after the All-Star break. They're taking it real slow because him and Ja are that's the future of the franchise. They don't want to make no mistakes because this is his second leg injury. Big man in legs. They don't want to have it be a thing where it becomes long term. So really working on strengthening it back up. And Dexter, to your point, look, there are you can look at galvanizing moments and what have you. I think 2 things were interesting to look at. The Nets getting their ass beat by the Detroit Pistons. Was that about a week ago now?
Mm-hmm.
And then coming back on the second night back-to-back after being down 21 against a good Phoenix Suns team. I think those 2 moments for this team say something. What it says, I don't know, but it says something.
Just something. And you brought up Kevin Love, Brian. He did practice on Wednesday, but remains without a timetable for return, which has annoyed me to no end because he's on my C team. So Kevin, living the life, getting that paycheck and not doing anything to help.
Keep getting them checks.
And we talked about the Nets a little bit, and obviously they beat the Lakers. They're still second favorites in terms of winning the whole thing. I'm seeing anywhere between plus 350 and plus 400. The Lakers are still the favorite. Anywhere between plus 250 and plus 270. I think now's the time to hop on that Nets bandwagon, because I think those odds are only going to come down.
That's an interesting point. Are you guys a little surprised in everything that we've also talked about today that maybe the odds haven't gotten better or for the Jazz? Like the Jazz still, you see them anywhere from plus 900 to plus 1200. And, it seems to me like we talked about jumping on the Jazz bandwagon, at least for tonight, but it doesn't seem like a lot of people are jumping on the Jazz bandwagon in terms of the future.
People aren't believers.
Yeah, it's that show me thing, right? It's like with Milwaukee. You're like, yo, Giannis could win 3 more MVPs and a DPOI. We don't want to hear shit until we see you do something in the playoffs, right? Like, and that's what the Jazz. We're like, all right, yo, his regular season stuff is cool, and it's also as the money bets. You guys know a lot of casual fans been on the NBA. Besides Donovan Mitchell, like. The Jazz don't have any those dudes that casuals know. We all know how good the Jazz are, but they don't have those names, and that's what drives the money, right? But again, look, you look at what I look at when I'm looking at a team to bet for who's going to have a deep playoff run. The thing that always jumps out to me, I look at is their adjusted net rating, right? What are you doing against the teams that you are playing? Are you beating the teams that are bad, and are you beating good teams? And right now the Jazz #1 in adjusted net rating at 10.1. They're beating everyone.
It's going to be interesting to see where they are as things go forward. If that changes and more people then get into action and want to put some of the money on that's going to be interesting. If people jump on the Jazz bandwagon.
I'll tell you what, when you talk about NBA Finals odds, I mean, like the Utah Jazz I mean, I wouldn't even call their odds tantalizing right now because I just don't think they're going to get that far. Because like we don't see teams historically like
What's that far? What
in terms of getting to the finals in general. Like,
okay.
Am I really betting on a team with Donovan Mitchell, all due respect, and Rudy Gobert to get past LeBron James and Anthony Davis, assuming he's healthy? Like, I don't see that. Now, the way Miami's played, I'm sure their odds suck right now. Like they're really, really, really low. So like, I might look into that a little bit, just see if they'll turn it around or whatever.
Wait, dude, on one side of his mouth talking about the Miami Heat, he gonna put money on, but the best team in the league, you're like, nah, I ain't put no money on them.
No, but also he's gonna look into that with Miami as he doesn't look at it all the time. What are you talking about?
They're like 12 and 17 or some shit.
But going back to Utah, this might be the year to put some money on them to at least get to the finals because the West. I mean, we don't know what's going to happen with Anthony Davis. We don't know he's going to come back.
What are their odds to get to the West Finals?
That
might be interesting.
I'm going to pull it up.
Or that just for might be interesting.
Right, for Western Conference winner odds, they are at plus 450, anywhere from plus 450 to plus 600.
Where the Heat at?
Oh, I mean, I thought you were looking into that.
The Heat are like plus 1,000.
Wait, so the Heat are at to do what? To win the East?
To get to the finals.
Okay, what about? Oh, no, that's fine to get to the finals. Plus 1,000. That's actually low.
And they're plus 3,000 to win it all.
Yeah, that ain't happening. That ain't happening.
Put one and get 300. You know, they will have to make a trade. And honestly, I don't know how COVID's going to impact the trade deadline. But we'll see. I just think that like there's so many variables. Like we talked about this at the top of the show. I have no idea who's going to make it to the NBA Finals. So it's like I might put money on like 5 different teams. The Heat just might be one of them.
All right, we're definitely going to get into more of that as we continue. There's a lot more to talk about looking at the future. There's a lot more to talk about in terms of championship odds, conference odds. We're going to talk about more stuff around the All-Star game. There's just so much more to talk about.
Are there odds on Kim Kardashian's next boyfriend?
Damn.
He'll probably be black. But,
show some results.
Listen, that's gonna be minus 8,000. You ain't gonna win no money on that shit.
So, we'll know that.
What was the dude? What was the dude from the Nets she was with back?
Chris Humphries.
Chris Humphries.
But he's black too. I think he's half black.
Yeah, he's half black.
Wait. Really?
Yeah,
man.
Hold on.
Come on, you saw his vertical. Stop it.
Come on, man. Stop playing. Too much.
Brian's doing research so he can take those odds or bet on it too. He's looking into it like he's looking into the Heat.
He looked like a heavyweight MMA fighter. Like you know what I'm saying?
Minus 500. He's half black, I
think. All right, we want to thank everybody for joining us on this edition of NBA Picks and Props. We do this every Friday night. But we thank everybody for joining us. Hopefully next week we'll have a little bit more action in the chat. Thanks to our 2 producers working on this.
Oh,
my man Gregory Alcala. Brian, what is it?
Oh, you're right.
You saw him. We know we're right. We saw him.
Yeah.
Hold on.
We know we're right.
Hold on.
Yo, Kevin Ramirez, T-Wolves tonight. Papa's really? Nah, Playboy. Ain't nobody betting on no T-Wolves.
Oh, now we get somebody T-Wolves tonight? No, you just heard me. I'm taking the Raptors over the T-Wolves at minus 3.5. I mean, like, T-Wolves any night? Come on.
Anthony Edwards looks good every other game.
Okay.
Somebody said got a spicy player prop for us. Jaylen Brown, top point scorer versus Atlanta. Is Jaylen Brown playing?
Yeah, do we know he's playing for sure?
Yeah, we don't know.
And where were y'all before, man? Where were y'all before?
Yeah, you're coming at the end and you give us all the questions.
I mean, we gotta, you know what I'm saying? We gotta start at 7 next week. That's it.
Be easy. Friday night.
You're right.
We'll open up. Hold on one second. Alexander Reed, Kevin Ramirez, we appreciate your comments. If you have any more questions or comments, we'll spend a little bit more time taking it since you guys came in late. Better late than ever. We're not
hurry up because
we're not hating on you on that.
Yo, Chris Humphries' dad name is William. That means, somewhere there's probably like 10 people in his life that call him Big Willie Humphries. You know what I'm saying? So I get it. I understand.
Or Big Willie Hump for freeze. See what I did there?
My goodness.
Chris Humphries got sisters?
How do we even get the problem? It probably was Brian. Alexander said he's walking his dog because it's cold as shit in Philly.
It is cold in Philly.
It's cold, man.
Yep. Hazel, I'm taking
And,
Hazel on a little
and
bit.
Gerard's like, I got to go out and do that in a little bit.
One of his sisters got curly hair, but she looked white as shit.
Now, Kevin.
That's not a bad thing, by the way. That's not a bad thing. I'm just saying I don't see the mix. You saying it's a bad.
Yeah. I don't know how you didn't see it before. Kevin Ramirez said cat player props gonna pop off rocking those boards and the points.
I mean, player props.
He's always the guy you want to look at in terms of player props. He's gonna get those boards and those points, no doubt about that. Absolutely. But anything else with the Timberwolves? Do you want to touch it?
Yeah. Nah, man. We chilling on the Timberwolves.
Maybe a Nas Reed double. I don't know.
Quickly, where we at on Rookie of the Year?
With Quickly.
Yo, it's crazy.
We're with Quickly.
Honestly, between Ball, Quickly, and your man Anthony Edwards is coming on. Now his problem is his team is shit. But those three playing real well right now.
Halliburton. Has Halliburton hit a wall?
No, I like Tyrese Halliburton, but he can't get that over LaMelo Ball at this point. Like LaMelo Ball has been the most impactful rookie. Like
they winning games.
He's like first in points, assists, second in rebounds, behind like James Wiseman, who's been out for a while now. Like it's LaMelo Ball in a runaway. It's not even close.
Jaylen Brown playing tonight with no minutes restrictions.
Yeah, Alexander, thanks for that.
Appreciate that. That might change my mind on the Jaylen Brown
better.
player prop.
I think that's an interesting that Alexander. You were interested in that Jaylen Brown player prop. That's an interesting one. You know, you got to be careful about Trae Young there getting his.
I mean, but can we call it what it is? I mean, Jason Brown's been the best Celtic all year.
Jaylen Brown's been
can we say
right?
that?
Yeah.
All right.
No, I agree with that.
And he was last year until the All-Star break.
He was.
I feel like he's tailed off a little bit since Tatum came back. Am I bugging?
Well, because Tatum's shooting a lot.
Tatum's shot from him.
But I don't think
Tatum hasn't looked good.
I don't think it's tailed off in a bad way necessarily, though. I think it's just like a matter of Tatum being there. I mean, Kemba's also taking some shots now too, and he was out for the first portion of the year, and he's obviously been up and down. Better lately, but still. Up and down.
Danny said we are not a championship team. You think he's trying to motivate them through the media?
No, he's just being honest.
I mean, here's
Jimmy Butler did that yesterday too. He's like, we're not a good team right now.
I mean, here's the thing, Gerard. Though, I mean, they got the greatest coach of all time. So how's he not?
That's what I'm saying.
Exactly. So just give him time, baby. Be patient.
You got the inventor of babasketball. How are you not the best team in the world? I don't understand.
He's a genius. He's a genius.
I don't get it.
He'll turn these guys.
If it weren't for him, they'd be 3-20 something. Okay?
But look, you know what concerns me with that team that we didn't talk about? The comments that Kemba Walker had a couple of games ago, where he was talking about the team is, they're not playing hard enough. That stuff always concerns me. They're not playing hard enough.
Dude's talking out the side of their mouths. Look out.
And Kyrie sitting there like, I told you. I knew.
How do we not have prop bets for Kim Kardashian's next boyfriend yet?
Why are you still on this?
Yeah,
I'm trying to see where the money is.
Wrap it up.
I'm
trying to see where the money is. You know what I'm saying?
On that note, we thank everybody for joining us. We appreciate Kevin Ramirez, Alexander Held, who came in late with the questions and comments. Y'all came in late, but next time, 6:00. Next Friday,
baby. Let's do it.
Time you tune in. We will be with you then. You got to come at 6 p.m. That's right. Our producer said it. Got to come at 6 p.m. if you want to get all the information knowledge. But if you came late, you can still watch this. This is archived. It's not going anywhere. It's going to be on our Props Network YouTube channel. You can subscribe to that and still watch this before you make some bets. There's some late games we talked about. There's some other stuff to look at. Brian talked about the Heat-Lakers game tomorrow. So there's a lot of stuff to look at in terms of that. That's it for this edition of NBA Picks and Props. I'm Dexter Henry. My guys, Gerard Hector, Jamal Murphy, Brian Fonseca. Shout out to our producers, Gregory Alcala and Sam Coulter from the great University of Pittsburgh. Until next time, y'all. Peace.